All right. So just to refresh the memory, I think everyone in this particular group, I've talked about triangulation a couple different times. So I'm just going to do a quick refresher and then take that concept and build upon it. So essentially, triangulation is much like cell towers when you're thinking about, okay, how do I find the epicenter of this triangle? And when you're looking at business strategy, it pretty much works exactly the same. So in this diagram, you can see, okay, a graphic designer, like say that's one seat that we may have in any chapter. The second then would be obviously Rachel's seat, right? A LinkedIn specialist. So a graphic designer and Rachel could definitely work together because they share the same common audience, the same common clientele. The third part of that would then be an SEO specialist. So in this triangulation, like these three individuals or these three corporations or these three companies could then definitely share referrals between them because they're sharing like-minded target audiences. So that's the first part that you would have to kind of figure out like who you are and who do you work with well. Another example of this would be a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, and maybe a lending network, right? And all three of them could definitely share that, or insurance agent. They can all share the same common thing. So that's the first thing I want you to do, is put that in your mind to think and analyze like that. Second to it is, once you kind of figure out who these people are that you need to figure out like their personalities and their functionalities of that environment. So this slide, this is something that I've been teaching for like forever. When I was in insurance and I was building an insurance agency, this slide right here allowed me to build 200 agents underneath one umbrella of my company in less than 12 months. And it's very simple, right? Teams is the acronym. It originally stemmed from STEAM. They just moved the S at the front. So I think Teams is just a better way to remember it. So T stands for teachers, right? So someone that's talented, that's a trainer or a teacher or a coach. E is for excited, someone that's always excited, always raising their hand, always willing to jump in and do some dirty work, but also smile about it. The ambitious person is obvious. They're aggressive, they're overachievers, but they're super ambitious and they want to kind of get goals done. The motivated, money motivated managers is for M, and then obviously S is for sales, sharp, seasoned salespeople. So again, these 5 core different elements, you could have multiple of these. Like for myself, I'm obviously going to be a teacher and ambitious. Like that's me, T&A, right? So for you, you got to figure out which 2 you are or which one you are. And then in your team, your center that you're looking for is to fill out these other spots. So I'm going to give you a real world example of what this looks like. So in this diagram, obviously business coaches. So on our team, if you look on the left, we have multiple different business coaches, even though they may not be titled as business coaches, but they are. So you have myself, you have Rachel, you have Mark, and you have Kathy, right? All of us essentially are helping businesses understand particular things on how to do them. And if they don't know how to do it, then we can do it for them, right? So that's essentially the seat for teachers. Then below that, earlier today, Hildy was talking about she's aiming for $1 million. She has $1 million business, and scaling that is an opportunity for her. That's ambition, right? So now we have business coaches and we have an ambitious person. What are the other 3 that we're looking for? So motivated would definitely be a money motivated manager. In this case, would be the bookkeeper on our team. That's Kimberly. So now we have the 3 out of the 5. So then we're looking for the other 2 slots, right? So who would fill in these other 2 slots? Who is overly excited? So a definition of someone that's overly excited that can particularly fill that seat would be E for excited, which would be a travel agent. The goal of a travel agent is to assist business owners with travel arrangements. And that's obviously one of multiple things that they do, but understanding, okay, what would it look like if Rachel was working with a travel agent, right? That's a commonality. If the travel agent is working with business owners and so is Rachel, then they have some overlap. Then a second to that would be like a business event planner, right? Same exact thing as a travel agent. They're overly excited individuals by nature, by default, and they would fill into that seat very well. S would then be sales, right? So who is a really good sales representative? And again, looking at their titles, probably be an HR recruiter. They're always selling on both sides of the coin, and a commercial real estate agent, a regular real estate agent as well, but more so commercial because again, their clientele would be more related to everyone else in the circle. Again, we're talking about on the coach education side, we're talking about educating small business owners with business strategies. On the promotional side, we're looking at helping business owners with their marketing, promotional products. And on the bookkeeping side, which is the money motivated, we're looking at helping small business owners with bookkeeping and taxes. So when I'm looking at who am I going to select for this team, I'm looking for right now visually, I'm looking for E and S's. Because again, we have a lot of teachers, like we have that seat filled. So, and I think all of us have our own levels of ambition. Our money motivated, we could obviously add some more fluff in that seat, but for right now, we're very light on E's and S's. So I'm going to show you a representation of what that looks like, very linear. All right, so ambitious on the left, that's Hildy, right? So then Hildy would then make a referral to myself with one of her clients that may need me to teach them podcasting or teach branding or do a speaking engagement or whatever it may be, right? And while I'm working with that client, then there may be a need for that client once their podcast is built and developed to then have someone step into that seat. And in this case, it would be a salesperson, right? But again, we don't have a salesperson. So I'm saying hypothetically, if Hildy made a referral to me from her client and I stepped in and I started educating her client, then once that project is done, where's the next referral that I can lead from that original referral? In this case would be an HR recruiter to say, hey, they're looking for a podcast producer to sit into that seat to take this podcast and maintain it for that company. And then that sales recruiter can then say, okay, well, here's your options. You have this alignment of people that could fit the seat, or in this case, then that person could then refer Kathy and say, okay, maybe you don't need a person for it. Maybe you need a VA to sit into that spot and take off some of that administrative work off your hands and strategize that for you behind the scenes. So you can clearly see like how these roles can definitely connect to each other, and you can make an ecosystem to where one referral could roll to another and vice versa. On to the right side, it's another variation of the same, right? So Kimberly could be working with a particular client, and on that client, they may have a HR team that wants to kind of make their LinkedIn profiles and their LinkedIn business page 10 times better. So then that referral will go from Kimberly to Rachel. Then Rachel is working with them to help them modify and create and develop their LinkedIn profiles and their LinkedIn landing pages. And in the process of talking to those HR individuals, they may say, hey, we want to do a team event. We want to do team building. We want to do an event just for our C-level, right? Then that's what E would stand in, which we don't have filled currently right now. E would be then the event planner. The event planner, then Rachel will say, hey, I know an event planner that could definitely help you. Now your LinkedIn profiles are perfect, that the way they need to be. You want to do a team building event. Here's an event planner. And the event planner would then step in. And as the event planner steps in, as they're working with them, they can say, oh, you know what? You have this great event coming up. You have this great summit, whatever it may be. I know someone that's super ambitious that can help with mindset. And then that's when she would make that referral for Jen. And then Jen would step in and do like a mindset equals freedom part of that event that the event planner would help the HR director work. So you kind of see how these breadcrumbs definitely connect, and you can make ecosystems if you get the right people at the right time in each group. It's not just about, I need a lawyer to have a lawyer. Why do you need a lawyer? Is that lawyer going to be the excited person? Is that lawyer going to be the motivated person? Is that lawyer going to be the teacher? Is that lawyer going to be ambitious? And you have to kind of figure that out. So it's not just about recruiting anyone. It's about recruiting exactly what your team needs and why you need it. And once you have this system working, and I can attest to it, because I said earlier that, I created a team of 200 people and I showed them this presentation and it made perfect sense to them. Okay, look, I don't want you to recruit anybody. I want you to recruit what you're weak at. So if you're overly ambitious, then you're going to need someone that's a really good manager. An M, A and M works together, right? And then as the money motivated person takes the information from the ambitious, then they're going to be able to delegate it to like a sales team. Then the sales team is going to be like, okay, well, great, I have something to sell, but what is this product? Well, that's when your teacher comes in like, hey, this is what the product is, this is how you do it. And then the sales team will then go to the excited people to then help promote and market it. And there's so many different variables of mixing and matching this particular strategy. But once you understand, like, there's only 5 core components and every team probably already has 2 to 3 of them, you just need to figure out what you're missing to get into that next step, that next strategy. Any questions? It all makes sense.
First of all, where did you come from? Like, seriously, you are so brilliant. This is amazing and such an interesting way of thinking about it. So we're just so lucky to have you. I just want you to know that.
I definitely appreciate it. Appreciate it. So another last thing going into closing again, and this is like off topic, on topic. So anyone that's doing these presentations that's in this group or in any other group, this next slide is something that I want everyone to start utilizing. It's after you do a presentation, to ask for a referral or ask for a testimonial, because then that's going to help you then get more referrals and more testimonials and more clientele. So if you don't mind, if you have opportunity, if this was helpful, then obviously you can scan this QR code or you can drop in this address, and the goal would be to then go there and it's set up exactly the way you see on the screen. There's a video review and there's a written review. And again, this is something that I want to help everyone understand, like the steps behind this, because again, as you do these presentations, the key takeaway to doing free presentations is to get those testimonials. So that's like, I guess, a 2-for-1, 2 things we taught today. Cool. I guess back to you, Jen.
That was incredible.
Um,
That kind of, I mean, like incredible, right?
Incredible.
And this goes into the conversation that